The snow never stopped on planet Arcane's 9. It was always white, always cold, always quiet. Lieutenant Ryan Hale sat near the heater in Outpost 47. He was the only human stationed there. Just one man guarding an old communication tower, deep in the galaxy. Day after day, the silence was his only company. His routine was always the same. Check sensors, drink coffee, read old books, stare at snow. Nothing ever changed. Until today. Suddenly, a loud beep echoed through the control room. Motion detected. Sector 3.0. Life form identified. Ryan frowned. Life form. No one should be here, he said to himself. He checked the monitor. A small, glowing figure was moving in the snow, slowly, weakly. The image was blurry through the storm, but it was clear someone or something was outside. Ryan grabbed his thermal jacket and rifle. He opened the outer gate and stepped into the freezing wind. The cold hit him like a punch. Snow whipped across his face. He moved quickly, following the red blinking light on his wrist tracker. After 5 minutes, he saw her. She was on her knees in the snow. A woman, or something like one. Her skin was light blue, almost shining. She wore a thin silver suit, torn and frosted over. Her hair was white, long, tangled. She looked up at him with glowing purple eyes. She was shaking badly. Her lips moved slowly. Her voice was soft, broken. I'm freezing. Give me a blanket, and my body is yours for one night. Ryan froze. What did she just say? He looked at her, confused, surprised, unsure. Was this some kind of alien trick? She tried to speak again, but her eyes rolled back. She collapsed face first in the snow. Damn it, Ryan muttered. He looked around. It's nothing but snow and darkness. He lifted her in his arms. She was light, too light, like her bones were hollow. He could feel her shaking even through his thick gloves. Back at the outpost, Ryan carried her to the med bay. The heat turned on full. He wrapped her in 2 blankets and placed her near the heater. Her breathing was weak, but steady. He checked her vitals. Her heart was fast. Her body temperature was dangerously low. She would have died out there in minutes, he said. He scanned her with a handheld device. Not fully human, not any known species, but DNA was similar. She was alien, but close to human. Very close. Hours passed. Ryan stayed nearby, watching her. Her words kept echoing in his mind. My body is yours for one night. What did that mean? Was she offering herself? Was it a translation error? Or was it a warning? Suddenly, she moved. Her eyes opened slowly. She stared at the ceiling, then turned to face Ryan. Where am I? She asked weakly. You're safe, he said. You were freezing outside. I brought you in. She looked at the heater, then at the blanket around her. You gave me warmth, she whispered. Ryan nodded. Yeah, that's what we do when someone's dying in the snow. She smiled a little. It was a strange smile, soft but also sad. My name is Lyra, she said. I didn't mean what I said. I was scared. Alone. It's okay, Ryan replied. I've heard weirder things. You almost died out there. She sat up slowly. Her hands were shaking. I escaped, she said. Will come for me? Who? Ryan asked. Who's coming? But she didn't answer. Instead, she stared at the power panel on the wall. A small light bulb flickered. Her eyes glowed back for just 1 second, and the bulb exploded. Ryan jumped up. What the hell was that? Lyra looked away. I'm sorry. Can't control it. Control what? She looked into his eyes, and for the first time, he felt something strange. Not fear, not danger, just silence and mystery. I just needed one night, she said quietly. Brought just one night of safety. Ryan didn't know what to say, but one thing was clear. This woman wasn't just lost. She was running from something, and now, whatever that was, might be coming here. Asterisk, the outpost was warm now, but Ryan felt colder than ever. He kept watching. Lyra, from across the room. She sat quietly, wrapped in a thick blanket, sipping hot liquid. Her eyes were calm, but her earlier words still echoed in his head. I escaped. They'll come for me. Who was they? And why was she glowing? Ryan had lived on this planet for 2 years. He had seen snowstorms, frozen beasts, system failures, but never this. Not a living, breathing alien woman who could explode a light bulb just by looking at it. He walked to the small table, placed another cup of hot tea in front of her, and sat down. You said you escaped, Ryan said. From where? Lyra didn't answer right away. She stared at the steam rising from her drink, her fingers trembling slightly. I came from a ship, she said softly. Not mine. A prison ship. I was not supposed to leave it. Ryan blinked. You're a prisoner. I was, she said. But not because I did something wrong, because I was born wrong. He leaned forward. I don't understand. Lyra's eyes flicked up to meet his. There was no anger in them. Just fear. And something else. Guilt, maybe. My kind was made, she said, in a lab grown to fight. To destroy. To serve the war. War? Ryan asked. Which war? She shrugged. Does it matter? For us, war is always somewhere. Ryan leaned back. So, you're a soldier. She shook her head. A weapon. They called me Project Echo. Not a name, not a person, just a tool. Ryan stayed quiet. It sounded insane. But the way she spoke, it felt real. Why did you say that earlier? He asked. My body is yours for one night. Is that part of the program? Lyra looked down, ashamed. I was cold, dying. My mind remembered. Old lessons I was trained to give value. If someone helped me, I was told to give them what they want. Ryan's jaw clenched. That's disgusting. It is, she agreed, but it saved my life. Silence filled the room for a moment. Ryan got up and paced. So what now? You hide here forever. What happens when those people come looking for you? Lyra didn't respond. She stood up and walked slowly to the window. Outside, the snow was still falling, thick and endless. I don't want to hurt anyone, she said. Not anymore. I just want to be something other than what they made me. Ryan looked at her carefully. She looked fragile. But he had seen the power inside her, the energy, the glow. He crossed his arms. You need help. I need time. She replied, just one night of peace. Before Ryan could say more, the screen on the wall beeped. Incoming message, uplink, unstable. Ryan ran to the console. It was a weak signal, someone trying to reach Outpost 47. He pressed a button. Outpost 47, this is LT Ryan Hale. Who's there? Static. Then a faint robotic voice. To all nearby posts. Unknown ship crashed in Quadrant 6. Possible escapee. High priority target. It's dangerous and unstable. Ryan looked at Lyra. She was already walking away, toward the sleeping quarters. She had heard it. He followed her. You knew they'd track you. She nodded. Always. I didn't think they'd come this fast. Ryan stopped. You blocked. Comes earlier, didn't you? That's why we lost the uplink. Lyra didn't lie. Yes, I didn't want to be found. Ryan stared at her. So I let you in, saved your life, and you shut down my system. She turned, eyes glowing faintly. I didn't hurt you. I didn't destroy the base. I just slowed the signal. Ryan was angry now, but also confused. He had rules to follow, orders, protocols, but none of that told him what to do when a living weapon just wanted to be free. Suddenly, a loud sound shook the building. Boom. The outpost lights flickered. Ryan ran to the window in the sky, a shadow. A small ship entering the atmosphere. He grabbed his rifle. They found you. Lyra stepped beside him. They won't ask questions. They will try to take me or kill me. Ryan looked at her. She wasn't just some runaway. She wasn't just a lost girl. She was something powerful and scared. And maybe human enough to care. He took a deep breath. All right, he said. If they're coming, we fight. Lyra looked at him, surprised. You'd fight for me? Ryan nodded. Double quotes, one night, right? Let's make it count. Outside, the snow kept falling, but inside, something much more dangerous was just beginning. Snow covered the window like a thick white curtain. But Ryan couldn't stop looking outside. He could feel it. Danger was getting closer. The alien ship hadn't landed yet. It was hovering somewhere above the clouds, scanning, searching, inside. The outpost's Lyra sat near the emergency supply locker. She looked calm, but Ryan could tell she was scared. Not shaking, not crying, just quiet. That kind of quiet that happens before something explodes. Tell me who's on that ship, Ryan said. They're bounty hunters, Lyra replied, not looking up. Zarkins. Ryan repeated. Never heard of them. They hunt escaped assets. They're not part of any government. Just paid tools. Ryan paced across the small room, his boots tapping the metal floor. So you're an asset? She nodded. To them, yes. I'm worth a lot of money. Ryan glanced at the blinking radar screen. Then this isn't just about survival, he said. This is a trap. Lyra looked up. What do you mean? Ryan pointed at the screen. You crashed here. Then went down. Now they're in orbit, like they were waiting for a signal to find you. But someone must have sent that signal. Lyra's face changed. That wasn't me, she said. I blocked comms. Ryan sat down at the console. He typed fast. Lines of code scrolled across the screen. A second later, a red box flashed, hidden. Signal detected uplink active channel B9. Ryan cursed under his breath. They didn't need you to send the signal. He said. They planted a tracker on you. Lyra's hands went to her chest where her suit was torn. She reached into the inner layer and pulled out a tiny metal chip, no bigger than a grain of rice. It blinked softly. I didn't know, she whispered. I thought I escaped clean. Ryan took the chip and crushed it with his boot. Too late now, he muttered. He turned to Lyra. They'll land soon. You said they won't talk. So what do we do? Lyra looked at the door. We run, she said. There's nowhere to run. Ryan replied. We're surrounded by snow, mountains, and cold death. Then we hide, she said. Deep underground. Let them search and leave. Ryan shook his head. They'll scan for life, heat, power. They'll find us. He stood and walked to the weapon locker. It was mostly basic stuff, a pulse rifle, a few grenades. 2 M-bombs. Lyra watched him quietly. I don't want to kill anyone, she said. Ryan glanced at her. Then help me trap them. An hour later, Outpost 47 looked quiet from the outside. No movement, no lights, just cold silence. But inside, Ryan was ready. He and Lyra had placed EMP bombs near the main entry door. The lights were turned low. Heat signatures masked. One emergency drone was hacked to emit a false signal in the north. Hallway, Ryan sat behind a barrier with his rifle. Lyra stood behind him, her fingers glowing softly. Don't use too much energy, Ryan whispered. They might track it. No, she said. just enough to protect us. Suddenly, the alarm buzzed. Motion detected. Main entrance breached. They were here. Ryan held his breath. The first bounty hunter stepped in, tall, armored, and silent. His helmet scanned. The room, behind him, came to more, all holding shock rifles. They moved like machines, straight to the drone as soon as they passed the first sensor. Ryan pressed a button. Boom! The EMP blast echoed through the outpost. Sparks flew. Lights died. The bounty hunters staggered. Systems fried, but they didn't fall. Damn it, Ryan said. They've got shielded armor. The lead Zarkon raised his gun and fired. The pulse bolt hit the barrier hard. Ryan ducked. Another blast followed, burning a hole in the wall. Lyra stepped out, eyes glowing bright. I said I didn't want to hurt anyone, she said loudly. But I will. She lifted one hand. The air shimmered, then dash crack. A bolt of blue energy shot from her palm, hitting one of the hunters. His shield failed. He dropped to the ground. The others turned toward her, but Ryan took the shot. Bang, one down. The last bounty hunter raised a strange device, not a weapon, a trap, before Lyra could react. The device fired a net of glowing red lines. It wrapped around her, locking her in place. She screamed. Ryan charged forward, tackled the bounty hunter, and slammed the M-palm into his chest. Boom, when the smoke cleared. Everyone was down. Lyra's energy net flickered and faded. Ryan limped over to her. You okay? She nodded. I thought they had me again. Not while I'm alive, Ryan said. He looked around. 3 enemies. 1 outpost, and now, even more questions. Asterisk, the storm outside had finally stopped. But the tension inside Outpost 47 only grew heavier. Ryan stood in the wreckage of his once silent station, breathing hard, the metallic scent of burnt circuits in the air. The 3 Zarkon bounty hunters lay motionless, their armor cracked, sparking faintly. One of them still twitched. Ryan kicked away the weapon from its hand. Lyra sat on the floor, back against the wall, pale and shaking. Her energy was low now. Her glow had faded to almost nothing. You shouldn't have saved me, she said quietly. Ryan turned his head, confused and angry. What are you talking about? You think I'd just let them take you? You don't understand, she whispered. This was the first wave. Ryan walked over, knelt beside her. What do you mean, first wave? She looked him in the eyes. They never send just 3. Just then, the radar screen blinked back to life, crackling with static. A faint voice came through the speakers, repeating in a robotic tone, Zarkan Alpha to base control. Stand by for full drop squad. Target confirmed. Engage recovery in 12 minutes. Ryan froze. 12 minutes, he said. We don't have time. He helped Lyra to her feet. She stumbled slightly. Her legs were weak. Her hands trembled like empty wires. I need to rest, she said, or I'll burn out. No time for rest, Ryan said. Come with me. He led her into the back room, the oldest part of the outpost, rarely used. Inside was a dusty, mechanical shaft, rusted and covered in frost. Ryan pulled open a small hatch in the floor. Beneath it, a ladder led down into the dark, the thermal vents that powered the station's backup systems. This goes into the caves, he said. We can lose them underground. Lyra looked hesitant. It's too cold. Ryan smirked. Good thing I have more blankets. As he lowered her into the shaft, the lights in the outpost flickered again. The power grid was failing, too much damage from the earlier fight. He grabbed one last thing before following her down. A pulse grenade. The cave was narrow, wet, and dark. Steam hissed from the floor. Lyra moved slowly, her hands brushing the walls like she was listening with her skin. They'll track us, she whispered. Even here. Then we make them pay for it, Ryan said. They walked deeper into the cave until they reached a small chamber, a collapsed mining area long abandoned. Ryan set down his gear and looked at her. You said you were made to fight, he said. So, fight with me. Lyra didn't answer right away. Her eyes glowed faintly, barely visible in the dim light. I'm afraid of what I become when I fight, she whispered. I lose myself. You're already more human than most humans. I've met, Ryan said. Just try not to fry me by accident. That made her smile just a little. Suddenly, from above, the faint sound of footsteps echoed down the shaft. They were here. Ryan threw Lyra a small beacon. Hide behind that rock wall. When I give the signal, use whatever you've got left. What's the signal? She asked. You'll know. The first Zarkon dropped down into the shaft, bigger than the last ones, more armored. Ryan opened fire, forcing him to take cover. Another dropped in. Then a third. Ryan ducked behind a boulder, pulled the pin on the pulse grenade, and rolled it across the ground. Boom. It wasn't enough to take them down, but it was enough to make them angry. One hunter moved too fast, charging straight at Ryan. That was the mistake. A blue streak of light cut through the darkness. Lyra's energy bolt smashed the bounty hunter into the cave wall. She stepped out slowly, glowing now, brighter than before. I said I didn't want to fight, she said. But I'm done running. The cave lit up with wild flashes. Her hands danced with power, twisting the energy like threads of light. 2 more hunters fell. The last one reached for her, grabbing her arm. Ryan stepped in from behind and slammed a metal pipe into the creature's neck. It collapsed. Silence followed. Only the sound of dripping water remained. Lyra stood still, breathing hard. Her glow faded slowly. Ryan caught her as she staggered. You good? He asked. She nodded. Just tired. He looked at the mess. 5 dead hunters. 1 outpost lost. 1 alien woman who had just risked everything for freedom. They'll keep coming, Ryan said. I know, she whispered, but I think I'm ready. Ryan looked at her for a long moment. He didn't see a weapon. He didn't see a target. He saw a person, and that changed everything. The wind outside the cave screamed like a dying machine inside. There was only silence broken by slow breaths and the hum of fading energy. Ryan sat on a cold stone, watching Lyra sleep. Her head rested on his jacket, her face pale but peaceful. Tiny sparks still flickered across her fingertips, like her body refused to shut down completely. They had survived the hunters. Barely. 5 Zarkons down, but no victory music played. Only quiet. Heavy quiet. Ryan glanced at his wrist console. Battery low, food low, ammo lower, and above them, somewhere in the white sky, more ships could be waiting. He stood and stepped to the edge of the cave's mouth, staring out at the endless snow. Everything looked soft, pure. But he knew better. The snow here buried secrets, frozen and dangerous. Why are you still here? Her voice came softly from behind. Ryan turned. Lyra was awake now, sitting up slowly. Her glow had dimmed, but her eyes held more fire than before. You could have left me. Walked out the back of the cave and vanished, she said. No one would blame you. Ryan shrugged. I don't leave people behind. Cool, that's not who I am. I'm not people, she whispered. You're someone, he replied. She looked away. You don't know what I've done. Ryan stepped closer. Then tell me. She hesitated. The silence stretched too long. Finally, she spoke. There was a village. Not far from the lab that made me. Human colony. Peaceful people. Farmers. Ryan nodded slowly. I was sent there to test my abilities. I didn't know. They said it was a simulation. I believed them. She paused, voice shaking. I burned it to the ground. I didn't mean to. Once I started, I couldn't stop. They screamed. I screamed too. I didn't want to hurt anyone, but the code inside me. It kept going. Ryan didn't move. Lyra's voice cracked. I hear them in my sleep. I see their faces. She looked up at him, expecting fear or hate, but Ryan just stood there. Good, he said quietly. You remember? That means you're not what they made you. You're something else now. Tears welled in her eyes. Ryan sat beside her. You weren't built to feel guilt, but you do. That's human enough for me. They sat like that for a while, two broken people wrapped in cold and guilt and silence. Then the sound came, a low hum. Far away, but growing louder. Ryan snapped to his feet. Ship. Lyra stood too, energy dancing weakly at her fingertips. Not Zarkon. He checked the scanner. Human signature. Military? She stepped back. Your people. He looked at her. They'll come in fast. Weapons drawn. They see you, they'll shoot. She finished. You should hide. Ryan said. Deep in the vents, I'll handle them. But Lyra didn't move. No more hiding, she said. They shoot me, they shoot me. Minutes later, the transport ship touched down outside. Snow blew everywhere as the engines cut. Ryan and Lyra stepped out slowly. 3 soldiers approached. Weapons raised. One of them wore captain's stripes. Lieutenant Hale, he said sharply. You sent a distress ping. We tracked Zarkan activity. Ryan nodded. They're dead. But I wasn't alone. The captain looked at Lyra. His hand moved toward his sidearm. Stand down, Ryan warned. She's the asset, the captain said. She's a person. Ryan replied, she's classified. The captain growled. Orders are to detain her or neutralize if resistant. She saved my life. She saved this whole station, Ryan said. You want to shoot her? Then you better shoot me first. There was silence. The soldiers looked at each other. Lyra stood very still, glowing softly, not in threat, just alive, finally. The captain lowered his weapon. HQ will want answers, he muttered. I'll give them, Ryan said. The truth? The captain gave a long look at Lyra. She stays with you. You watch her, if anything happens. It won't, Ryan said. They turned to leave. Lyra looked at Ryan, eyes wide. You really believe in me? He smiled. Slightly. You asked for one night. You got more than that. She blinked. What do I do now? Ryan looked at the rising sun over the white hills. Now, he said, you live. And somewhere deep in her heart, something unlocked. Not code, not programming. Something real, something human. Asterisk, the silence after survival was the loudest kind. Days passed. Lyra stayed inside the outpost, hidden from the world she barely understood. Ryan repaired systems, fixed broken walls, and watched the snowy hills like a soldier waiting for ghosts. The human military had left. No more questions, no follow-up. Just silent sound. That silence felt too easy. Ryan didn't trust easy. Lyra sat near the power core, hands open, letting tiny sparks dance in her palm. She wasn't healing, just waiting. I don't feel like I belong anywhere, she said one morning. Ryan looked up from his workbench. You belong here. She gave a weak smile. This place is a cage. Not every cage has bars, he replied. And not every open sky means freedom. They sat like that, wordless again. Then the signal came, an encrypted pulse, strange, sharp, and wrong. Ryan jumped up, checked the console. Lines of code appeared, symbols flickering fast. He didn't recognize the language. But Lyra did. Her face went cold. That's not human. That's them. Ryan leaned in. Zarkin's Lyra shook her head. No worse. She pressed a finger against the screen. The symbols stopped for a moment, then rearranged into something. New dot, a single message. Echo 1. Initiate, reset. Weapon protocol active. Countdown engaged. Ryan stepped back. What the hell does that mean? Lyra's eyes filled with panic. They're trying to activate me. Her glow sparked violently. Her hands trembled. Static filled the air. Turn it off, she whispered. Shut it down. Ryan moved fast, pulling wires, killing power, smashing the console. But it didn't stop. The message was inside her now. Lyra screamed, falling to her knees. Her body lit up in sharp flashes. Her voice twisted, deeper, layered, like two people speaking at once. Protocol online. Mission priority restored. No, she cried, clutching her head. I don't want this. Ryan ran to her, grabbing her shoulders. Lyra, fight it. You're stronger than them. Her eyes glowed white. The air cracked. The wall behind her shattered. Ryan didn't let go. Look at me, he said. They didn't build you. They built a shell. You filled it. She screamed again, but this time it was human pain. Not programmed rage, then just like a wave, breaking the energy dropped. She collapsed in his arms, breathing hard, skin cold. I fought it, she whispered. I think I won. Ryan held her tighter. We need to get you out of here. If they can reach you, they'll never stop. Lyra nodded weakly. There's a place. Far away, an old moon. A dead one. No signal. No network. No war. Just wind and stone. Perfect. Ryan said, I've always wanted a quiet vacation. But you'll be a deserter, she whispered. You'll lose everything. He helped her to her feet. I already found what matters, he said. I'm not letting it go. That night, they loaded supplies into Ryan's personal scout. Ship, small, fast, invisible to most tracking systems. Built for emergency exits, or quiet getaways. Before takeoff, Ryan walked through the outpost one last time. He paused at the console, now dark and cracked. He placed a small device on the panel. A virus, a digital ghost. If anyone tried to access the system again, it would feed them false data, looped messages. Fake coordinates, just in case. Lyra stood by the hatch, silent. She looked different now, not brighter, but more real. Like a storm had passed through her and left only the parts worth keeping. You ready? Ryan asked. She looked at him for a long moment. I'm scared, she said. Me? Too, he replied. They took off into the dark sky. Engine slow, lights off. The snow shrank behind them, the planet turning into just another cold dot in the black. Inside the ship, Lyra stared out the window. No one's ever done this for me, she said. Risked everything, just to give me a future. Ryan didn't answer right away. Then he said, maybe that's what makes us human. She looked at him, and for the first time, no glow touched her eyes. Just warmth, just a beginning. But far behind them, deep in the broken code of the outpost's system, something moved, something that had watched, something that wasn't done, not yet. The dead moon had no name, just coordinates and silence. Its surface was cracked and colorless. No trees, no oceans, no wind, just quiet dust and a sun that never got too close. Perfect for hiding. Perfect for forgetting. Ryan touched down the ship on a ridge of gray stone. The landing was smooth. No alarms, no signals, no visitors. This place was the end of the road. And maybe, just maybe, The beginning of something new. Inside the ship, Lyra stood at the doorway, staring at the endless horizon. She had never seen a sky so empty. "Are you sure?" she asked. Ryan powered down the ship's systems. One by one, the lights faded. "We disappear here. It's the only way." "No more running?" she asked. "No more fighting," he replied. Lyra stepped out first. The dust crunched under her boots. It was cold, but not deadly. She could feel the stillness in the air. Nothing was trying to kill her here. Not the planet, not the people, not herself. They found an old shelter nearby, built decades ago. Abandoned, but stable. Ryan fixed the lights, restored power from the solar panels, and sealed the doors. It wasn't much, but it was quiet and safe. They lived day by day. They built small routines. Ryan mapped the caves for warmth. Lyra learned to control her glow, not just suppress it, but shape it. One day, she made a tiny ball of light hover over Ryan's coffee cup. It danced in circles, flickering gently. He smiled. "Not bad for a weapon," she grinned. "Not bad for a human." Nights were quiet, sometimes filled with old Earth music. Sometimes just stories. One night, Lyra asked, "Do you miss the world?" Ryan looked up at the sky. "No," he said. "I think this is the world now." Then came the message. It arrived in the middle of the night, blinking on the old COM panel Ryan had sworn he wouldn't use. A single packet encrypted. He stared at the screen. No sound. No voice, just a line of text. "She's not the only one." He woke Lyra. Her glow flickered faintly as she read the message. Her face stayed still, but her breath caught in her throat. "They were working on others," she whispered. "Different models, different minds." Ryan nodded. One of them found a way to speak. "They're alive," she said softly. He watched her carefully. "Do you want to go find them?" "I don't know," she replied. She walked away from the screen, sat on the cold floor, and looked at her hands. "I thought I was the last one," she said. "I thought, if I was the only one, then I could start over. But now, you still can." Ryan said, "But what if they didn't escape?" she asked. "What if they want to be weapons?" "Then you show them they don't have to be." She looked at him. "I don't know how. You showed me," he said. "Now it's their turn." The next day, they fixed the comms properly. Not to send a message, just to listen. The world was out there, still fighting, still spinning, but they were no longer running from it. They were choosing when to return. Not yet, but soon. Lyra stood at the cliff's edge that evening, watching the stars come out. "They made me in a lab," she said. "Filled me with code, commands, and fear." She turned to Ryan. "But you gave me something they didn't." "What's that?" he asked. "A choice." Ryan stepped beside her, the stars reflecting in his eyes. "You gave me something too," he said. She smiled gently. "What? A reason to stay." They didn't kiss. Not yet. This wasn't a fairy tale. But they stood close enough that the silence between them finally felt warm. Somewhere in deep space, another signal blinked. To life, slow, broken, calling out another voice. Another lost soul. But this time, Lyra wasn't the only one listening.